If you've understood the principles of bankruptcy, you've carefully weighed up the short-term and the long-term consequences, and you've thought about the alternatives, you may now be ready to take the plunge. In this video, I'm going to take you through the steps involved in applying for bankruptcy. Applying for bankruptcy is a last resort. Before you go down this route, I would strongly advise you to look at my other videos on the subject, my introduction to bankruptcy, the costs of bankruptcy, and alternatives to bankruptcy. There are links in the show notes below. And of course, you may wish to do your own further research. I'm Daniel Barnett, a barrister practicing in London and the presenter of The Legal Hour on LBC Radio. Applying for bankruptcy is done online. The government website where you do this is linked in the show notes below. The initial cost is £800. That includes the adjudicator fee of £130 and a deposit of £550, which is returned to you if your application for bankruptcy is rejected. If you don't have enough money to pay for the bankruptcy application fee, you might be able to get help from a charity. The Turn to Us website provides guidance and grants depending on your circumstances. Once you've applied, you must then cooperate with the court and provide all the information the court requests in the application. A judge then decides whether to make a bankruptcy order. According to the Insolvency Rules 2016, they have to give you a decision within 28 days of your application, unless they ask for extra information, in which case they have another 14 days. If they decide to make you bankrupt, they will give you a copy of the bankruptcy order and notify your creditors. Your application might be declined if they think you're actually capable of paying your debts, or if there's an existing bankruptcy petition levelled against you by one of your creditors. You'll be told the reason and told of your right to appeal. If your application is accepted, your trustee will write to you within 2 working days of the bankruptcy order being made. You will be invited to an interview with them lasting 2 to 3 hours. If it's done in person, it's usually quicker if conducted by phone. Before the interview, you should call your trustee to either confirm or rearrange your appointment. You can let them know about any special facilities you need, or if you need more time to gather your paperwork, or if you're other kind of time constraint. You might be sent a questionnaire. Fill it out, and if there's anything you don't understand, write your questions down. If you aren't sent a questionnaire beforehand, you might be asked to fill it out during your interview. You must attend the interview and cooperate with the trustee. The consequences of not doing so are very serious. When you have the call or the in-person interview, you should have all your paperwork to hand. You'll have to give it to the trustee for them to keep. At the interview, the examiner will ask you why you've gone bankrupt. You can also ask them questions about the bankruptcy procedure. You might have to have a follow-up appointment if you haven't provided all of the information that the examiner needs. After the interview, the receiver will send a report to your creditors, telling them about your assets and about your debts. This could take up to 12 weeks, but it usually takes less than 8 weeks. From that point onwards, your creditors are unable to chase you for your debts. You or your spouse or your former spouse or any business associate could also be asked to appear in front of the court and give evidence for your bankruptcy after the order has been made. If you or any other person asked to testify don't show up, or it appears that you're trying to avoid the court, you or they could be arrested and their property seized. It's very important that you cooperate with your trustee and with the court, or you may be guilty of a bankruptcy offence. These are examples of wrongdoing which have an impact on your bankruptcy and are criminal offences. If you commit one, you could be fined or even go to prison. So not only must you consider carefully the implications of bankruptcy, but if you take this path, you must be sure to stay on the right side of the law. I'd strongly urge you to seek advice from a professional insolvency practitioner before initiating the process, because everybody's situation is different. I'm Daniel Barnett. Here are 2 of my other videos on bankruptcy. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.